Good morning. I'm Diane Macedo. Thanks for streaming with us. In today's update, Hurricane Laura is on the brink of becoming a Category 4 storm. Laura is tearing through the Gulf right now and expected to make landfall as a Category 3 or now as a Category 4 hurricane on the Louisiana-Texas border. We're getting a look at Laura from the sky. Hurricane hunters flying into the storm. This is what they're seeing. Laura is fast-moving and massive. In the past 24 hours alone, this storm has intensified by 55 miles per hour. Now, people along the Gulf Coast have been preparing for the storm surge, which we're now hearing could get up to 15 feet high, with winds expected to top 130 miles per hour in some places. Mandatory evacuations are also underway for more than 500,000 people. You can see them there lining up to get out of town. Our Victor Kendo is in New Orleans, Louisiana. And Victor, this part of the country knows this sort of weather well. We're already seeing some flooding there. What's the latest?
And Diane, here in New Orleans, we are already starting to feel some of those outer bands from Laura. We are right along Lake Pontchartrain, and you can just see how rough this water is behind me as some of these waves start to crash ashore here. The wind has no doubt started to pick up. We've felt some rain as well, but it is just south of us near the mouth of the Mississippi, where they are already starting to feel the impacts from Laura. Take a look at some of these pictures that were just posted moments ago. You can see that there is storm surge already in place. Some of those streets are inundated with water, and we only expect conditions to worsen in the coming hours. Half of Louisiana's population lives in coastal areas, and it's the border along Texas that's bracing for a direct hit. The storm surge in places like Lake Charles could be up to 15 feet high. More than 500,000 people have been ordered to evacuate. That's created some gridlock on highways. Now, you still have some time to prepare, some time to evacuate, but that window, Diane, it is quickly closing.
Amazing to see those images so early on in this storm before it's even close to landfall. Victor, it's a huge storm, we know that, but it's also hitting in the middle of a pandemic. So how is that impacting preparations?
Diane, that just further complicates everything from a planning perspective and for first responders. We know that while shelters are open, it's not those big scale shelters that we're used to seeing. In many cases, people who need a place to stay, they're actually being put up in hotels. That should keep them safe, and it should help contain the spread of the virus. Diane?
All right, Victor Kendo in New Orleans for us. Thanks, Victor. Stay safe. And for more on Laura's path, I'm joined in studio by meteorologist Greg Dutra. Greg, this storm is big, it's moving fast, and now we're hearing Category 4 at landfall.
Frightening rapid intensification, as you said, 55 miles per hour up and continuing to grow very intensely, too. Let's take a look at the latest here. Getting a well-defined eye. This was covered by some higher level clouds a little bit earlier on, but now you can distinctly see what's going on, and that is a characteristic, a hallmark of major hurricanes, and this is going to be a major hurricane as it makes landfall. Category 4 at least Wednesday night. So this evening at 7 o'clock, it's a Category 4 storm, 145 miles per hour. Now those wind speeds are up. Let's track this inland, again, coming right on the Texas and Louisiana border, looking almost exactly like the track of Rita. This is going to be the strongest storm to move in since Rita some 15 years ago, and probably going to leave results that look much the same. All right, heading south here, and on the right side, right front side of the storm is what we call the dirty part of the storm, the right front quadrant. You've got the storm speed moving inland, plus those Category 4 winds, and that is going to push up a lot of water. I'll get to storm surge in a second, but this is a dual threat here, the winds and the storm surge. Look at these winds in Cameron, which is probably where that right front, the dirty part of the storm, is going to hit. 116 mile per hour gust, 104 mile per hour gust. This is over hours and hours of rain and wind inundating things. You're getting up to the point now where objects are going to become projectiles and not just wind damage to trees and the sort. The storm surge is the next threat, and this is going to be the most potentially life-threatening, catastrophic part of the storm. Storm surge could reach 30 miles inland up to the I-10 corridor, and look how high the storm surge has now gotten. We were talking about 15 feet earlier. That is now up 10 to 20 feet. This is no doubt in my mind going to be a storm that goes down in history, Diane. It is very dangerous. The hours have closed basically on preparations, and folks just need to really hope that they took the right preps, are far enough inland to get away from this, because you have to run from the water in cases like this. You can shelter from the wind. You got to run from the water.
It's terrifying, and we hope everybody has evacuated those that were under orders to do so and has prepared to whatever degree they can.
Yeah.
Greg, thanks. And a few more headlines this morning. The CDC is modifying its COVID-19 testing guidelines. They say people who are symptom-free and don't have underlying medical conditions don't need to be tested, even if they've been exposed to someone with COVID-19. The new guidelines are a shift from what Director Robert Redfield told ABC just last month. In that interview, he said anyone who thinks they may be infected, independent of symptoms, should get tested. Critics of the new directive say it could limit contact tracing. The CDC says you should still get a test if recommended by your doctor or health officials. At least 3 people were shot, 2 of whom have died overnight, when demonstrations against the police shooting of Jacob Blake turned violent. Wisconsin's governor declared a state of emergency as people ignored a curfew for a 3rd night in a row. They set cars, businesses, and homes on fire. The state is now calling more National Guard troops in, and Blake's family is begging for an end to the violence. Here's Jacob Blake's uncle, Justin Blake's, on GMA.
Discouraging that we live in America in 2020 and that our parents are still having to tell young black men when they walk out the door to be careful from the people that we pay for to protect and serve us. It was definitely a racial issue involved. When he wasn't a suspect, he hadn't broken a law. It doesn't happen in the Caucasian communities or Hispanic communities. Why is it happening in 2020?
A GoFundMe for Jacob Blake has raised more than $1 million in just one day. And New York Central Park is set to unveil a statue of women's rights pioneers Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and Sojourner Truth, making it the park's first statue of real women. The Women's Rights Pioneers Monument debuts today, celebrating the 100 years since the 19th Amendment gave women the right to vote. The sculptor of the piece says, quote, "You've heard of breaking the glass ceiling? This sculpture is breaking the bronze ceiling." And that does it for this ABC News Live update. I'm Diane Macedo. Thanks for joining us. And remember, ABC News Live is here for you all day, tracking Hurricane Laura in addition to your latest news, context, and analysis. Up next, GMA's top stories. Have a great day.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.